Hi, welcome to the Crafts channel. My name's Corinne Brad and today I'm going to show you how to patch as you go. A very simple method of piecing together all your scraps of fabric so you can make a glorious patchwork bag like this one. Let's get started. This patchwork effect bag that I've made from scraps of Amy Butler fabric has been made using the patch as you go technique. So I'm just going to show you very quickly how simple it is to do. Grab yourself a piece of wadding. This is like a wool mix quilt wadding. It's about 1.5 centimetres thick and it's great for making bags because it adds some structure to them. And then take your first piece of fabric, pop it there, just hold it in place with a pin because you're going to get your next piece of fabric. And I'm the girl that never throws out any scraps of fabric, which is why I've always got hundreds of pieces like this. I'm going to line it up against there and I'm just going to cut it roughly to the same length and lay it down right sides together. Take it to your machine and then simply sew down that seam through the wadding. And open it out. Now at this point it's quite nice also if you just top stitch that seam. Just makes it look a little bit cleaner. But I'm not going to bother lock stitching that because in a minute the ends of that top stitch will be covered up by your next piece of fabric. Yeah, that will do. And this is a great way to use up all your scraps because you can just cut them more or less to size, line it up against that sewn edge, that raw edge of the other pieces, and then run it through like that. And I'm not really lock stitching any of these pieces because there shouldn't be any wear on them. It's not as if it's the end of a seam. There should be no reason for those stitches to come undone. And also, if you don't lock stitch it, it does mean if you make a mistake, it's much easier just to pull the stitching out. It's purely a decorative technique. What holds the fabric together is your wadding on the back. So let's find a piece of high contrast. Oh, let's have a bit of pink. And we'll lay that down on this edge. And stitch. And then just top stitch it. And I'm top stitching about 1 millimetre away. As your piece gets bigger, what you'll find is your scraps of fabric perhaps won't actually be wide enough to continue doing what you're doing. Very simple way to alleviate this, although I will have to cut a piece of fabric down to show you what I mean. A bit of green. Oh, there's a bit of shocking pink here, that'll be good. Sew your two pieces of fabric together as you normally would. And you might want to lock stitch it this time because they're not being supported by the other bit of fabric. Finger press to the darker side of the fabric and then, let's say, let's do it about here. In fact, let's cut that selvage off that scrap so you don't get the nasty holes visible. Cut that down to about there. Just check I'm not cutting through the wadding. I've done that on numerous occasions. And I'm just going to trim that down As you can see, there's really very little precise measuring involved. And that's the nice thing about this patch as you go technique, because even if you are the shoddiest, laziest stitcher, it does look really quite good. Oh. And then when you open it out, I'm just going to pin that down because it's a bit bigger than the other pieces. Top stitch this seam here. And then just to keep the continuity going, top stitch, in fact actually we'll do it, which side do you want to do it? This side. Top stitch that seam. Just so it looks the same as all the rest of them. So you'll build up your design using scraps of fabric, running along the edges. As I say, it's a brilliant way of using up all those odd pieces of fabric that are too big to throw away, but too small to make a sensible project with. And then pretty soon what you can do is you can create whole panels that you can then make usable bags and garments out of. So I hope you enjoyed that demonstration. I hope that helps with the technique, and we'll see you next time. If you've been inspired to create, please share your makes with us in the comments section below. And if you've enjoyed videos by the Crafts channel, hit the like button. Want to see more of us? Then click subscribe. See you next time.